Who is Richard Seeley? That's the question that every Canucks fan is asking after Thursday's big announcement. He's the new GM of the Abbotsford Canucks and the new assistant GM here in Vancouver. And while he might not have a massive public profile just yet, his track record in the AHL is absolutely elite. From building the best defensive team in his division to his deep roots right here in BC, there's a very specific reason the Canucks targeted him. First, we're going to answer that first question on just who is Richard Seeley, and then we're going to dive into the master plan behind this hire. So let's jump right into it. We're going to talk about just who is Richard Seeley. So let's take a look at this article from our friends over at Canucks Army. This one actually written by our good buddy Tyson Cole, and he reiterates Vancouver Canucks GM Ryan Johnson has now filled his now former role in the organization. On Thursday evening, around 4:45 p.m., Johnson announced the hire of Richard Seeley as general manager of the Abbotsford Canucks and assistant general manager of the Vancouver Canucks. Here's the actual announcement that the Canucks posted on Twitter. As I mentioned, around 4:45 p.m., here's what Johnson had to say regarding Seeley in the Canucks' press release. Rich is someone I have admired and respected for a long time after watching him run the Kings AHL team in Ontario, said Johnson. Besides knowing the game of hockey inside and out, he's a great communicator, goes to work every day with an open mind, and sets his players up for success by creating an environment that tries to eliminate any excuse that would stop them from making progress. Rich understands our values and vision, and I believe his mindset and mentality will fit in nicely with what we are trying to establish with our organization in both Abbotsford and Vancouver. Now, Seeley, 47 years old, has been serving as the general manager of the Los Angeles Kings AHL affiliate Ontario Reign for the previous 8 years. In his first season as GM, Seeley led the Reign to a 44-19 4-1 record and a Pacific Division title. Under his leadership, the Reign has made the Calder Cup playoffs all but one of his 8 seasons and capped it off with a 47-23-2 record this past season, along with a second Pacific Division title. In his playing days, Seeley was actually drafted in the 6th round, 137th overall of the 1999 NHL draft by the Kings. He never did make his mark in the NHL, so after playing 3 seasons in the WHL, Seeley then spent 5 years in the AHL, accumulating 20 goals and 61 assists for 81 points in 399 games between the Lock Monsters, Manchester Monarchs, Bridgeport Sound Tigers, Norfolk Admirals. Seeley's leadership was apparent, serving as a captain for the Monarchs for 2 separate stints, and the Sound Tigers. He would then take his talents overseas, playing 4 more seasons between the German and Austrian leagues. We mentioned he has his BC connections. He's from Powell River. The Powell River BC native will now fill the role that Johnson held for the previous 2 years, serving as GM of the AHL affiliate and the assistant general manager for the NHL team. Seeley joins Emily Castonguay and Cami Granado as assistants to Ryan Johnson. So there you get a little inside peek as to just who Richard Seeley is. But we're also going to dive into this article as well that talks about his wealth of experience and success that he is now bringing to the Abbotsford Canucks GM job and the Canucks assistant general manager job. This one also from our friends at Canucks Army. This one written by J-Pat, and he reiterates a little bit of what Tyson Cole said in his article. Talking about Seeley being brought in, having a long stint with the Ontario Reign. And he mentions, he may not have a huge public profile, as we mentioned, but the 47-year-old joins Canucks after we mentioned 8 seasons in the Kings organization. This shows dedication, perseverance, and a commitment to just one franchise. The fact that it just happens to be a team in Abbotsford's division, giving Seeley a head start on understanding his new assignment, is an absolute bonus. Now, take a look at this tweet from Steve Weir. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. Years ago in Florida, we did a lot of interviews for an AHL head coach opening. One candidate from the ECHL stood out to our younger AGMs and analytics team for his innovative and progressive approach. He was our number 1 choice. He was going places. It was Rich Seeley. So that is a very interesting tweet there. We mentioned the Powell River BC native has a vast and varied background in the game. We mentioned he was a former player, a former bruising defenseman. We didn't touch on that in the first article, but he was a former defenseman in the WHL, as we mentioned, and also we of course mentioned he was in the ECHL, AHL, and he was of course overseas. After trying his hand as a coach for 3 seasons in the ECHL from 2015 to 2018, Seeley moved into management, jumping into the GM's role with the Ontario Reign. It was a full circle moment, considering Seeley, as we mentioned in that first article, was selected by the LA Kings in the it says here the 1997 draft. So one said 1999, one said 1997. Let's actually quickly look that up. Give me 1 sec here, just so I can get a little bit of certainty there. Richard Seeley NHL draft. So it does say 1997. So it looks like it is 97, not 99. So I apologize for that. While it's often difficult to determine the day-to-day influence a minor league general manager has on an AHL team, given all of the moving parts involved, Seeley's teams have repeatedly demonstrated excellence. In 4 of his 8 seasons as GM, Ontario posted 40 or more wins. This past season, as we mentioned, the Reign led all Pacific Division teams in the AHL with 47 victories and 99 points. The club was also the best defensive team in the division and one of the top defensive teams in the entire league. Over the past 3 seasons, the Reign improved its win total from 42 to 43 and then jumped up to 47 this past season. Under Seeley, we mentioned Ontario qualified for the AHL playoffs in each of the past 6 seasons. During his time as GM in Ontario, he had Marco Sturm as a head coach before the Boston Bruins hired him. Seeley also worked with Mike Stolders, who left the Reign in 2021 to take an assistant coaching job in Anaheim. This past season was on the bench staff of the Pittsburgh Penguins. So clearly, Seeley has provided an environment that has helped coaches climb the ranks. In Abbotsford, he'll have a hand in filling out the coaching vacancy in the Fraser Valley, while also lending his years of experience to the NHL Canucks front office. And of course, we already touched on the fact that he's a BC native. Adds a little local flavor to this and follows the hiring of another BC resident, Darren Hermiston of Kamloops, as the club's new director of player personnel. You have to wonder if this is all part of a master plan by the organization that will result in more BC-born players in the pipeline. So a very good possibility there. Now, obviously, it talks about the filling out the coaching vacancy. I do believe Ryan Johnson made it known that it is going to be Seeley who makes that decision, probably with some input from Ryan Johnson himself. And of course, we've already heard at least one name thrown out there when it comes to a possible head coach, that being, of course, Jessica Campbell. Obviously, I threw her name into the hat when it came to, the GM role, but perhaps she could be a coach if she wants it. But I guess we will find out who Seeley feels as though should be the one to coach the Abbotsford Canucks and who will take over from Manny Malhotra. Perhaps he might want to bring in someone that he's more so familiar with. We shall see, or who knows, maybe it ends up being Jessica Campbell. Obviously, if they do name a coach, we will obviously cover it here right on the line change. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about this hire of Richard Seeley as the assistant GM of the Vancouver Canucks and the new general manager of the Abbotsford Canucks? Let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section down below. I know some people aren't too okay with it. Like, they're kind of criticizing it a little bit. But, just based off of his experience and his success, I think this is a great hire by Ryan Johnson and the Canucks. It kind of feels like Ryan Johnson, as was mentioned in this article, in this part of the article, Ryan Johnson kind of sees a little bit of himself in Richard Seeley. So perhaps that is why he was hired, but we shall see. But once again, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about this hire? And also, if you guys enjoyed this video, on your way out, You can like the video and subscribe to the Line Change for more Canucks and draft-related content. You can also become a member of the Line Change by hitting that join button to receive exclusive perks, members-only videos, some behind-the-scenes stuff that I'm working on, and early access to videos such as like the one you are watching right now. But before I sign off, an important message from our friends over at DraftKings. It all comes down to this: a best-of-7 battle, and DraftKings has you covered every step of the way. The DraftKings Sports app is now available in all 50 states and includes all markets. Sweat every shift of the series all in one place with one app. New DraftKings customers sign up with code THPN, spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code THPN in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Bet with DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, bet text pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Void in Ontario. Event contract trading with DraftKings predictions involves risk of loss. Sportsbook bonus bets expire in 7 days. $50 in predictions dollars issued weekly for 3 weeks, expire in 1 year. Redeem one non-withdrawable reward. Availability varies. Predictions offer void in New York. Ends June 28. Terms at dkng.co/audio.
Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.